I am who I am only because of my mother, and I am only half the woman she is. That is what Sonia Sotomayor, the newest Associate Supreme Court Justice, has said about her mother. Sonia grew up in the projects of Manhattan with her Hispanic widowed mother. Sonia credits all of her accomplishments and success to her mother. She was raised believing that education is the key to everything in the world. If you become educated, you can do whatever you want and accomplish whatever dreams you have. Sonia's mother's emphasis on education gave her the feeling that she could do whatever she wanted to do because her mother never gave her a reason to feel limited. Only when Sonia left home did she realize that others saw her differently than she saw herself. As a result, they treated her as if she was an inferior. It became a constant battle with Sonia to do and be her best so that others could see that she was just like them. Her mother helped her through this battle. She always encouraged Sonia to shoot for the moon, to go for the extra mile. She allowed Sonia to dream and taught her the significance of great dreams. Through her mother's example, Sonia learned to overcome roadblocks by submitting to great mentors. When her undeveloped writing skills became a problem, she submitted to a mentor in law school and quickly developed the needed skills. She learned to work hard and press forward with a goal in mind, no matter what opposition she faced. A child without enormously supportive parents like mine may not fare as well as I have. Condoleezza Rice is a former Secretary of State under George W. Bush. Her path to this position was completely unexpected. Condi had parents who were great parent mentors. Condi's parents began schooling her at home because the schools wouldn't accept her early. Because of her early start at home, she tended to be above grade level all throughout her schooling. Her parents were heavily involved in her education, always willing to help her with whatever she needed and encouraging her to grow and set higher goals. They taught her never to settle for less. Condi was being groomed to become a concert pianist. Her mother was highly involved and encouraging in her music, her father in sports and history. She was also a gifted figure skater and adored the game of football. She said her parents lived to help her achieve her dreams. They taught her the value of education. In fact, her and her parents loved to visit colleges everywhere. Condi was a musical prodigy, but at the age of 10, she became bored with music and wanted to quit. Her mother, acting as a wise parent, convinced her that she wasn't experienced enough to make that choice. When she was 17, she entered the University of Denver's music degree program. There was great hope for Condi's musical career. However, after performing at a university competition, Condi turned to her friend and said, "I don't belong here." And because her parents had not raised Condi into music to feed their own egos, but rather to find her own unique contribution to the world, they readily accepted her choice to leave music and assisted her in discovering the unique mission God had intended for her all along. Condi's father, Reverend John Rice, took her to visit an academic advisor. During this meeting, Condi was able to voice that she wanted to study Russian. Russian became Condi's obsession. The university didn't have a Russian program, but because of Condi's work ethic, learned through her dedication to music and skating, and her determination, they tailor-made a degree program for her. It was this change in focus that eventually led to Condi's career in politics. Condi was raised to believe that God had a unique mission for her, and her parents prepared her to discover it. My mother was the most beautiful woman I ever saw. All I am I owe to my mother. I attribute all my success in life to the moral, intellectual, and physical education I received from her. George Washington, a Revolutionary War hero and the first President of the United States, had parents that helped him on his way to greatness by teaching him to love learning and always seek knowledge. His father was a wealthy landowner in the American colony of Virginia. He provided his children with a good home, loving environment, and encouragement to learn and work hard. George didn't go to formal school, but was taught at home by his father and older stepbrother Lawrence. Augustine Washington, George's father, provided his two older sons with a great British education. He had different plans for George. George was to inherit the farm. He needed a practical education, but Augustine didn't live long enough to give him everything he had planned. Upon his death, Lawrence assumed the responsibility for George's education. As a result, George always thought that his education wasn't the best, but he realized that his father gave him an incredible gift. Because he had been free to explore and learn in a loving environment, he discovered that he had an unquenchable desire to gain knowledge and wisdom. His mother was a visionary woman, and she helped George to make decisions that led him to his destiny. Once, our future American hero had the opportunity to be a ship's hand for the King's Navy, but his mother decided that it wasn't the best option for him and prevented him from going. Americans would have a very different story to tell if instead one of their greatest American heroes had been an admiral in the King's Navy. Without good parent mentoring in George Washington's life, things would have been a lot different for America. These three parents, and many others like them, knew something that was the key to guiding their children in the direction that would ultimately lead to realizing their potential. They understood that they were important mentors in their lives, and were not afraid to embrace the role and take on the challenge. These parents were parent mentors. Parent mentoring is the key to the future. It is the difference between a good education and a great education. Condoleezza Rice once said, "If you have a child well prepared by the time they are 14, you can put them into the larger world where they are hit with the first messages from the dominant culture, which tells them they cannot fly, that in fact they are too stupid or shouldn't be able to achieve. By that time it's too late, because you've got a 14-year-old who believes that they can be anything they want to be." This is the power of parent mentoring. Let's do it.